There's a weird energy in the NFL right now, and at the center of it all is a rookie who hasn't even played a full season yet. Shedeur Sanders went from being hyped, celebrated, and spotlighted to being quietly painted as a problem, not for what he's done, but for how people feel about him. He's not in trouble. He hasn't said anything wild. He's doing everything right. So why are fans, reporters, and even Browns media slowly turning on him? What did Shedeur do to deserve this sudden wave of criticism? Well, you might be shocked to find out. It has less to do with football and more to do with what he represents. Because when a young QB shows up smiling, healthy, confident, and electrifying in preseason, people don't always cheer. Sometimes they start building the hate. And what's crazier is, this might be exactly what he needs to take over the league. But to understand how we got here, you need to see what's really going on behind the headlines. Not long ago, Shedeur Sanders was barely practicing, sidelined by a painful oblique injury that had some fans worried he'd miss crucial preseason reps. But just days later, the story flipped. Shedeur returned to the field, and not just going through the motions, he was slinging absolute dimes like he never left. That kind of bounce back doesn't usually get headlines, but it should. Because recovering from an injury isn't just about the body, it's mental. Ask any athlete. The hardest part isn't the pain, it's the trust. You start asking yourself, can I move like I used to? Can my body handle this? Or am I about to go down again? That doubt creeps in faster than defenders ever could. But on that practice field, Shedeur wasn't hesitating. He was leading, dropping fade passes right on the outside shoulder, threading throws through tight coverage, stacking one solid rep after another like nothing happened. And that's not just mechanics, it's mental strength, the kind you can't measure on a stat sheet. Even Browns insiders admitted he was still limited, yet he gave the team exactly what they wanted to see: controlled movement, confident throws, and no signs of hesitancy. And did his receivers look unsure? Not even close. His timing was sharp. His touch was back. And with every snap, it felt like Shedeur was quietly proving a point. He's not just healing, he's adapting. He's recalibrating in real time. And while other young quarterbacks are still trying to find their footing, Shedeur's out here bouncing back from injuries and deepening his chemistry with the offense. Still think he's just a preseason body? What happened on that field wasn't about one practice. It was a statement. And the people paying attention heard it loud and clear. But as good as he looked, the noise coming from outside the field was about to grow louder. It's easy to forget this, but Shedeur Sanders was a day 3 draft pick, a late-round guy, a name most teams would have stashed, ignored, or tossed into third-string reps behind veterans they already gave up on. The NFL doesn't typically roll out the red carpet for players who don't go early, unless your last name carries weight. But still, draft status aside, Shedeur wasn't treated like a throwaway. The Browns could have buried him, chalked up his injury as bad luck, and moved on. Instead, they played it smart. They gave him space. They showed patience. They let him heal the right way. And whether they meant to or not, they recognized something most teams miss. Shedeur isn't built like a typical rookie. You don't get that kind of consideration unless you're showing something special behind the scenes. And based on how the locker room's reacting, the coaches' comments, and how the media is now scrambling for clips, he's not just impressing. He's starting to pull the spotlight toward him. The NFL is full of silent rookies trying not to mess up. But Shedeur, he's already a media magnet. His reps go online. His practice footage gets filtered into highlight reels. Views shoot through the roof. When he plays, people tune in, and not just Colorado fans riding nostalgia. We're talking national numbers. Think about it. He's still recovering, still behind other quarterbacks on the depth chart, and yet he's got millions of eyes on him every time he throws. You don't get that by accident. That comes from a mix of hype, talent, timing, and something the league can't bottle: presence. But while Shedeur's energy was making noise, another QB was being quietly sidelined. And the NFL world was starting to notice. When a preseason football game racks up over 2.2 million TV viewers, people ask questions. Is it a fluke? A random scheduling win? Did Swifties accidentally tune in? Not even close. The real reason? 2 words: Shedeur Sanders. He didn't even start the game, yet the second his name appeared, attention snapped to the screen. Twitter lit up. NFL Network's numbers spiked. It became the most watched preseason game of the decade. Not just the season, the entire last 10 years. And he barely played. This isn't hype, it's measurable. Shedeur's presence translates to numbers. Ticket sales go up. Jersey sales go up. Engagement skyrockets. Teams don't usually get this kind of energy from rookies, let alone one not guaranteed to start. Shedeur isn't just on the roster, he's becoming the story. But there's a strange side effect to that kind of buzz. The louder the spotlight, the more people start looking for flaws. It's not enough for him to show flashes of greatness. They want perfection. One overthrown pass, he's not ready. One pick six, he's overrated. It doesn't matter that every rookie QB makes mistakes. It's different when 2.2 million people are watching you work through them. That kind of audience builds pressure. And for a 22-year-old fresh off an injury, that pressure's not just unfair, it's engineered. Because the league is desperate for the next star, but terrified if that star doesn't look like the one they expected. Still, Shedeur keeps showing up, playing his game, making the room laugh, throwing clean balls and building chemistry. And meanwhile, the media keeps scrambling to figure out if he's a future franchise QB or just the son of a legend, riding momentum. But what they don't see coming is that both can be true, and even that might not be the whole story. Because while Shedeur has the spotlight, he's also becoming the target. Let's be honest, if Shedeur Sanders weren't smiling, dancing, or wearing designer chains, a lot of this outrage wouldn't even exist. He's not breaking any rules. He's showing up, doing the work, recovering from injuries faster than expected, and connecting with teammates. And yet, somehow, there's always someone in the comments calling him entitled, cocky, overhyped, a nepo baby. Where's that same energy for the other rookies? Guys who haven't played it down but are already being labeled saviors. Where's the anger when they joke around in practice or post outfit pictures on social media? That's the double standard. Shedeur was born under the brightest spotlight, and because he's learned how to navigate that attention, people twist it into arrogance. And let's not act like this is about football stats. He's already outperformed most rookies in his class on and off the field, and still, his haters don't come with film. They come with feelings. It's the same weird narrative that's followed Travis Hunter. Smile too much? You're unserious. Joke with teammates? You're not focused. Dance after practice? Suddenly, you're not professional. Forget that both Shedeur and Travis train harder than most, play through injuries, and have actual NFL veterans praising them. One pick six, they call him a bust. One clean throw in a tight window, and it's silent. So which is it? We're watching a young man show poise, maturity, and leadership under insane pressure. But instead of rooting for a disciplined, talented rookie carving his own path, some fans have made it a personal mission to root against him. Not because of what he's done, but because of who they think he is. And if that feels like something deeper than sports, that's because it probably is. But the NFL world didn't realize Shedeur wasn't just handling the pressure. He was starting to change the room. Joe Flacco has been in the NFL longer than some of Shedeur Sanders' teammates have been alive. Super Bowl MVP, veteran of the game, the kind of guy who's seen it all. Flashy rookies, washed-out prodigies, fake leaders, locker room viruses. After nearly 2 decades in the league, Joe Flacco doesn't fake smiles for kids who haven't earned it. And yet, there he is, laughing, joking, loosening up when Shedeur's around. That body language, that vibe, it's important. Because in the NFL, vets watch you before they ever listen to you. You have to earn their attention without asking for it. And somehow, Shedeur already has it. He didn't walk into that locker room demanding respect. He created a culture around him that earned it. There's footage of Shedeur clowning, trying to get Flacco to dance. Doesn't seem like a big deal, unless you know what kind of environment the NFL actually is. Most rookies are terrified to even speak around veterans. Shedeur, he's building chemistry with legends. And don't get it twisted, this isn't some goofy PR moment. Joe Flacco isn't playing along just because cameras are rolling. This is two quarterbacks, separated by generations, vibing like teammates on equal energy. That connection matters. It tells young guys in the locker room, you can relax, be yourself, compete, but laugh too. And for older players, it's a breath of fresh air. Someone new who's confident, not arrogant, playful but serious about ball. Shedeur brings the type of leadership that doesn't come from yelling in huddles. It comes from presence. And suddenly, this rookie long shot, he's the reason energy in that facility doesn't feel the same anymore. But if you think this is all about personality, you haven't seen the comparisons brewing just one locker over. Let's talk about Kenny Pickett. Supposed to be the safe option, the experienced QB, the guy brought in to pad the depth chart. Now, he's missed the entire preseason with a hamstring injury. Still no return in sight. Still not taking meaningful reps. The silence is getting louder. Meanwhile, Shedeur Sanders is banged up too. But he's pushing through, throwing confidently and stacking days. And in the NFL, there's an unspoken rule. The best ability is availability. That's where things start shifting. No one in the building will say it outright. Not yet, but the writing's on the wall. Pickett hasn't played. Shedeur can't stop rising. He's healthy, engaged, and bringing real spark to every snap. And when the cameras roll, they're not focused on Kenny. They're zoomed in on number 14. The craziest part? Most people assumed it'd be one of the rookies, maybe Dylan Gabriel, who'd get buried first. But now, it's feeling like Kenny Pickett is the odd man out. Not because of drama, not because of politics, just because he's not there. And when you're not playing, you're giving up the only chance to prove you belong. That's how fast roles shift in this league, especially when someone like Shedeur is gaining momentum, not just with fans, but inside the locker room. He's not out here begging for opportunity. He's forcing the question, why isn't he next up? All it takes is one more injury, one rough quarter, one spark of momentum, and Shedeur Sanders could find himself skipping the entire depth chart conversation and landing directly in the QB2 role or higher. The Browns may not say it out loud, but ask yourself this. If Shedeur keeps growing like this, how long can they really keep him behind Pickett? Because we've seen this story before. The only difference? This time, everyone's watching it happen in real time. In a strange twist of irony, the biggest threat to Shedeur Sanders' reputation might not be the media or the haters. It might be his own fans. His wildest supporters call him a future GOAT. They flood every Browns post, spam stats, trash veterans, and troll anyone who questions his upside. That kind of energy? It's passionate, but it comes with a cost. The louder they get, the more people push back. And now some in the media are blaming him for their behavior. Think about that. Not what he tweeted, not what he said, just the fact that people believe in him is being used as a negative. A recent post by a Browns media insider even claimed that Shedeur stans are creating haters by being too active on social media. Let that sink in. A quarterback is being judged not for his actions, but for the excitement around him. And here's the kicker. Shedeur hasn't fed the chaos. He's not online throwing shots. He's not whining about disrespect. He's just showing up, quietly working, letting the play speak. But because some fans are louder than others, the narrative is shifting. Now, it's not about whether he's talented, it's about whether liking him makes you delusional. How backwards is that? This is how perception works in pro sports. When hype builds faster than approval, the system blames you for the noise, even if you never made it. And in Shedeur's case, he's carrying a target he never asked for. The question now isn't whether he can handle it. It's whether everyone else can separate signal from static. Because at some point, playing well won't be enough. He's gonna have to win twice, once on the field, and once in a league that's already made up its mind. Let's get something straight. Shedeur Sanders isn't cocky. He's joyful. There's a big difference. But somewhere along the way, joy got rebranded. Now if a young player smiles too much, he's not serious. If he celebrates, he's immature. If he jokes with vets, he's disrespectful. Why? Because he's not playing like he's burdened? That's the thing that doesn't make sense. Here's a guy who's earned his shot, battled through real injuries, proven he can handle pressure, and he's still being shamed for dancing, smiling, bringing good energy to practice. This is football. It's supposed to be performed with heart, passion, and yeah, sometimes a little swagger. Since when did enjoying the game become a character flaw? Shedeur grew up in NFL locker rooms. This life isn't a fantasy to him, it's normal. That's why he can joke with Joe Flacco like an equal. That's why he doesn't flinch around cameras. It's not fake bravado, it's comfort born from experience. Some want him to walk in quietly, keep his head down, act like he hasn't earned a thing. But guess what? He has earned it. And the same confidence that makes fans uncomfortable, that's the exact trait they'll celebrate once he starts winning games. We praise veteran QBs for leading with composure. We post clips of Tom Brady screaming on the sideline and call it passion. But when Shedeur laughs, says something funny in the locker room, suddenly he's immature. That's not analysis, that's bias, blended into judgment disguised as concern. So, here's a thought. Maybe it's time to stop twisting personality into ego and start understanding that what looks like too confident to some is exactly why his teammates believe in him before he ever takes the field. Because there's one more thing people keep forgetting. Shedeur Sanders loves the game. And the game? It's starting to love him back. So let's zoom out. What if Shedeur Sanders isn't the problem, or even the story? What if he's just the mirror? A mirror to NFL fans uncomfortable with change. A mirror to media unprepared for a rookie owning the spotlight with personality, not politics. And a mirror to a system that doesn't quite know how to handle joy that doesn't come with permission. Because make no mistake, Shedeur is doing everything right. He works, he leads, he recovers faster than expected. He lifts his teammates up. Veterans respect him. And still, some people are rooting for him to fail. That says more about us than it does about him. Look, we've seen polarizing athletes before. Guys with flash and swagger. Guys who didn't fit the box but broke it anyway. Cam Newton, Lamar Jackson, Richard Sherman. Players who got labeled before they got a real chance. And now, it's Shedeur's turn in the blender. They'll call him soft if he jokes, arrogant if he talks, overrated if he succeeds. Meanwhile, the guy's just out here playing football, bringing energy, getting better, and pulling a preseason audience bigger than some playoff games. You can't manufacture that kind of magnetism. It's either real or it isn't. And what we're seeing? It's very real. So if you're watching this and still confused about why Shedeur Sanders gets so much love, so much hate, and so much attention, here's your answer. He's not just the son of a legend. He's not just a media darling. He's a disruptor. And in a league that plays it safe, that alone makes him dangerous. Like it or not, he's forcing the conversation to change. And whether the NFL world is ready or not, Shedeur Sanders is already here.